So, are you really who you think you are? Or am I who I think I am? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. And I am Brenda, Florida, life coach and lifestyle advisor. And I want to talk today about identity. I think this is a really important issue and one I kind of woke up this weekend thinking about. We tend to think the things we think about ourselves are who we are, right? Or the roles that we play. So my identity is I'm a mother, or my identity is I'm a life coach. My identity is I'm a friend, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister. Any of those ways that we tend to identify ourselves. Then we also tend to use things like the things we do, or how much money we make, or I'll just say the status that we live in, not to be, I'm not talking about obnoxious egoism. Just, do I live in a nice place? Do I drive a nice car? And those things are meaningful to me. Several years ago, I was in the midst of a really, challenging transition financially. And that's part of the catalyst that got me to thinking about this was I really had to think, like, who am I if I lose my car? Oh my gosh, I happen to love my car. I drive a convertible Mustang and I love it. I'm very proud of it. And I see myself as the kind of person who would drive a convertible Mustang, right? Really fun and adventurous. And it's part of why I keep my hair short, right? So it's always a little messy looking. And you can't tell when I show up at an appointment after driving with the top down. So I took that on as like part of who I am. And in the midst of thinking about the reality of potentially losing it, I had to really think about that because I didn't want to think, oh, if something goes wrong here and I lose my car, or, I can think of other people who are in financial stress and, even going to the extreme of somebody who's having to stay in a homeless shelter or something like that, far worse off than I've ever been. So, is their identity based on their financial status at that time? And I don't like the idea of that. I don't even believe that. I don't look at somebody else and give them a value or place their identity on a particular outside circumstance. So it really created this great challenge for me to sort of start to set myself free of those ways that I identify myself with certain things. So if you want to think of something like, maybe we've certainly had plenty this year of natural disasters. So people who lose their home and their belongings, right? And maybe their car in a flood or a hurricane or, a fire, something like that. That can really challenge our sense of self and sense of identity when we lose all these things that have been identifiers. You probably know because you've all seen all around my house because I record these videos all over the place. So I have my fall decorations out today because it's fall. And everything in my home is something that I love. I love being surrounded by, things that I love. And I don't buy things or collect things or have things in my home that don't bring me a lot of joy. So that's awesome. But if I lost them all tomorrow, would I still be the same me? And of course, the truth is yes. But when you go through times of loss, it might be loss of a relationship, right? Like if I lose my spouse or something, whether that's through a death or divorce, and now I don't see myself as a wife, that can feel like a loss of identity. But in truth, have we really lost anything about who we are? Well, of course, the answer is no. And I'm going to read a quote out of Brene Brown's new book, Braving the Wilderness, which I love and totally recommend if you haven't already picked this up. But this is a quote actually by Maya Angelou. And she says, she's being interviewed by Bill Moyers. And Maya says, "You are only free when you realize that you belong no place. You belong every place, no place at all. The price is high, the reward is great." So like many wise sayings, there's sort of a play on words there, or dichotomy, where it's like, wait, by belonging every place, I belong no place. And Brene talks about this quote a lot in the book, so you can read her perspective on it. I will share with you, how I felt when I read it, because then she goes on, when Bill Moyers is interviewing her, he asks her about it again, and she elaborates. And he asks, do you belong to anyone? And she says, more and more, I belong to myself. I'm very proud of that. I'm very concerned about how I look at Maya. I like Maya very much. I like the humor and the courage very much. And when I find myself acting in a way that doesn't please me, then I have to deal with that. Maya belongs to Maya. I belong to myself. And I love that. And I really just let that sort of sink in for a minute. Just to belong to yourself, that's your identity. That's your whole identity. Everything else is just like my pumpkins, decoration, my car, my home, my belongings, even the relationships, everything can be stripped away from me, but not me. Not the me that is the eternal spark of the divine. That's who I belong to, and I really felt the freedom in that, and I want you to feel the freedom in that. So give it a try. Just sort of think about those things. Challenge yourself to think about the things, the relationships, the objects, the maybe external, your job, things like that you use to identify yourself, which is very common. Nothing wrong with that. We all do it. But then open your thinking up to this concept of, without all of that, who are you? And this idea of belonging to ourselves, and that by belonging to ourselves, we liberate ourselves to our own wisdom and to true freedom. So I'd love to hear what you think about this. So give me your comments below this video. And if you want to get the video delivered right to your inbox, super easy, just go over to my website, brendaflorida.com, and you can sign up for these videos and other things that I'm doing, be the first to know about programs I'm going to launch and things like that. So I look forward to seeing you there. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.